examination by the applicant. To allow as many people as possible to be heard, we request that your remarks be limited to 5 minutes. If additional time is needed, the hearing will be continued until the next available hearing date. At this time, I will now call tonight's first matter. It is CDC 2020-02. This case involves a request for a rezoning map amendment to rezone residential property from an R1 residential zoning classification to an R2 residential zoning classification. The subject property is located at 17 West 271 Deer Path Road, which upon annexation will be known as 382 East Deer Path Road. The zoning application has been filed by Mr. Salvatore Ursino. Okay, let's begin. Staff, please provide a summary of the request and indicate when the notice of hearing was published and whether you have the certificate of publication from the newspaper.
Would you raise your right hand? Please state your name and address.
Gosha Pucheha, 404 North Wooddale Road, Wooddale, Illinois.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you. I did wanted to clarify. I apologize. I just noticed a mistake in the agenda and in the memo. The case in front of us is actually CDC 2021-0002. So I apologize for the typo. The notices were published with the correct case number, which was CDC 2021-0002.
That Scrivener's error be noted for the record.
Thank you. Quick. So the public notices were mailed out, and a notice was also published in the Daily Herald newspaper on September 3rd, and a sign was also posted at the subject property. So we have met all the requirements from our municipal code regarding the public hearing notice. The petition in front of us is actually a rezoning request. The petitioners have submitted an application for voluntary annexation of a vacant residential property into the city of Wooddale. And upon annexation, the automatic zoning that is applied to a property is always R1, which is the most restrictive residential zoning district. However, the property is located, as we'll see in a couple slides, in a R2 zoning district, so that's why the petition's been submitted to bring the property into compliance with the surrounding zoning district. This is a location map of the property. The address that we've used on the top will be the address that will be assigned to the property upon annexation. Right now, the address is 17 West 271 Deer Path Road. Upon annexation, the address assigned will be 382 East Deer Path Road. As you can see, it is surrounded by existing residential neighborhood, and the location is along Deer Path, but close to the intersection of Edgewood. So this is our subject property, and as I said, it is surrounded by an existing neighborhood. This is a look at the zoning map. As you can see here, this is really the only unincorporated property within that shot. It is surrounded by the R2 zoning district, and that's why the petitioners have submitted this request. This is just a street view of the vacant property right now. I mentioned the existing address, the new address that will be assigned upon annexation. The site is about 5 acres in size, and it is currently vacant. This is just, once again, existing conditions. There's really, it's just a vacant lot at this point. This is a plat of survey that was submitted for this petition. And the intent of the property owner is to apply for a building permit for construction of a new single-family home. So while this information is just for informational purposes, really the intent of the meeting today and the whole proposal is to be able to construct a single-family home within the city of Wooddale and then connect to city utilities. This is just a concept site plan and elevation that is being proposed. Staff finds that the proposal or the request for rezoning is in compliance with the comprehensive plan. The subject property is designated as single-family residential on the future land use plan. It also helps the city to achieve Goal 2, Objective 6, which specifically talks about voluntary annexations of residential properties into the city. In terms of compliance with the UDO, with our zoning ordinance, the allowable uses, as we mentioned, it will be, upon annexation, it becomes R1 automatically. The request is to rezone it into R2, which is also, it's a residential zoning district. We are not changing the use at all. It is currently vacant, but building type 2 lot standards will apply to it once the petition moves through and the applicant is able to apply for building permits. So upon the building permit submittal, that's when we will look for compliance with the building type 2 lot standards. And for recommendation, staff is in support of the petition for the rezoning. We find that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan. It is consistent with the UDO. It fits in, the request to rezone it into R2 is consistent with the surrounding residential zoning district. Therefore, we recommend that the CDC committee recommend to the city council approval of this petition. Thank you.
Does any member of the CDC have any questions for Ms. Pocheha? Okay. Is the applicant here tonight? Okay. Would you like to make some, just some remarks? Sure. And you can just step up to the podium, please.
Sir, would you raise your right hand, please? State your name and address.
Salvatore Ursino, 17W271 Deer Path Road.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Well, first of all, thank you guys for taking your time and hearing me on my petition and Gosha's help throughout this whole process. As she stated, I'd like to, rezone my property to an R2 and annex to the city of Wooddale and apply for a building permit. During this process this year, with COVID and all that, I was looking at buying a home, and unfortunately in the city of Wooddale earlier in the year, and had the opportunity to buy a piece of land and invest in a home, a single-family home, to set some roots in this community and start a family. And once again, I'd like to thank you guys for hearing me out and allow me to be a part of this community. Thank you.
Great. Does any member of the CDC have any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much. Is there any member of the public that wishes to make any remarks or make any statements tonight? Okay. All right, I'll do a last call for any questions from the CDC members. Remember, once we close the public hearing portion, you will no longer have an opportunity to ask those questions. So if you have any, this is the time to do it. Okay, so now I will close the public hearing in this matter, and we'll proceed to deliberations. So now's the time for the members to make any remarks on either their support or their opposition to this particular request. Is there any member of the CDC who would like to make any remarks in that regard?
Comments, remarks, anybody?
No? Okay. So what we'll do is we'll move on to the voting portion of tonight's meeting. Staff has set forth a recommended motion in the memo at page 5. What I'll do is I will read the motion. A member can say so moved. We'll have a second. And then we'll have time for discussion. Again, remember, just because you move the motion onto the floor doesn't necessarily mean you're in favor or opposition one way or the other. We're just moving it on the floor for discussion. So here is the recommended motion. Based on the submitted petition and the testimony presented, the proposed map amendment rezoning is consistent with the Unified Development Ordinance and comprehensive plan, and therefore I move that the Community Development Commission adopt the findings of fact included within the staff memo dated September 20th, 2021, as the findings of fact of the Community Development Commission, and recommend to the City Council approval of the map amendment rezoning for 17 West 271 Deer Path Road to be known as 382 East Deer Path Road, to be classified as an R2 residential district property in case number CDC 2021-02. That's the motion. Any member can say so.
So moved.
We have
I'll second.
we have a
Mr.
second by
Peterson?
Mr. Peterson.
Thank you.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, so at this point, I'm going to call for the vote. If you vote yes, that means you are in favor of recommending approval of this request. If you vote no, that means you are in opposition to the request. Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Babowis,
Yes.
Mr. Damasco,
Yes.
Mr. Ochoa,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Zatko. Yes. Motion carries.
The vote is unanimous. Okay, so that will conclude tonight's hearing. At this point, we're going to move on to the staff liaison report. Do we have a report, Ms. Butchell?
I just wanted to, very quick updates. We do have a couple petitions for, potential petitions for special uses coming through, so they may be presented in the next few months. There is also a larger redevelopment annexation application that we received, we're still working on. So we are planning that most likely we're going to have a meeting next month.
Great. Do we have any other business tonight? All right, there being no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Do we have a motion?
Yes, I make a
Mr.
motion.
Mr. Peterson is making the motion.
I'll second.
Member Zatsko is seconding the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes.